Welcome and good evening, everybody, to another Full Sail University online class. My name is Steve Kane, and it is a pleasure to be here with you tonight. We're here with the Audio Workstations class. It is a week 1 Tuesday lecture. And if you have attended the live class, you're going to notice we got just a little bit different going on. But this archive is going to cover exactly what we did in last night's class there. I want to welcome Brandon, Catherine, Frank G, and Frank K, Gus, Johnny, Kali, Sabrina, Shirley, and Vantray, all in the live house tonight. Welcome, everybody. It's good to hear. It's good to have you here and to be here with you live. We're going to be doing our Pro Tools assignment tonight, as we will every Tuesday night, excluding week 4. And then on our Thursdays, we're going to tackle our remix projects. But we're going to get rolling here in just a moment as this comes to an end and get this party started here. That's right. Are you gonna? You can stop playing now. All right, there you go. Well, welcome everybody. As I said, tonight, as you start looking in your course, I first want to make sure that everybody has taken a look here at the not the just about this class, but if you look into the course introduction video, I want to make sure that everybody has watched this. As I take a quick poll around, I see that everybody has watched this, because this gives you special instructions about everything that is here within the course. It tells you all about how to open your books. For the books for the course, you're going to go here, and I'm just going to show you this briefly here. But you got your books for the course. And make sure you read this. This is going to show you how to get Acrobat Reader down. And I'm going to show you the most common problems are people not saving the books to their laptop and not opening it correctly with Acrobat Reader by doing a right click. Instead, they try to open it accidentally with Preview. But as I said, that course introduction video is going to show you all that. It is also, oh, and by the way, as we look there, yes, there are 2 books, the 101 and the 110 version of the Pro Tools certification classes, and we're going to be bouncing around these books throughout the month there. And my advice to you is start looking in the back of the books for subject matter rather than just kind of reading them front to back, and I think that you're going to find a lot, because I'm taking for granted that everybody has been in the sequencing class. Good, and that you've already learned a bit about MIDI and some signal flow and things like that. So I'm going to take those things for granted and teach it in a way that's kind of like, I know you know how to drive, but maybe you haven't driven this car yet, so let me show you where the blinkers are and the windshield wipers are and that kind of stuff. And so I encourage everybody to try to get a steady workflow, to know what you want to do, and then it's going to be easier to learn how to do it. So, for instance, you know you're going to need to make a track. So maybe you open up the book and you go to the back and you do a Command F and just search for how to make tracks and such. So those are great resource books. If you're not feeling warm and fuzzy enough already, you can read about this course and get a warmer and fuzzier feeling about what's going to happen this month, what we are going to do, and how it's all broken down. The basics of it is we've got 2 main projects every week. On Tuesdays, we're going to be doing our Pro Tools assignment, which is going to be very, very objective, not subjective at all, no creativity. You're going to do exactly what I tell you to do, exactly how I tell you to do it, and turn it in for a grade. And as long as you can watch me and follow along, then you're going to be fine. Then we also have this project remix that we're going to be working on all month long. And so what we're expecting you to do is take the things that you're learning, like for tonight, how to edit and some of that stuff, and then apply that into your remix very creatively and subjectively, however you want. And so you've got the objective portion to show me that you know exactly how to do it, and then you can we'll have the Thursday night remix projects where you're going to be able to do everything just as much as you want. So check it out. Class archives are where our things are going to be posted. Now, there's nothing here right now because we haven't uploaded. I think actually you might see something here, but throughout the week, what you're going to have are different things being posted here. All right, so to get to earlier videos, you're just going to click down here. The newest video will always be on top, but if you want to go check out new ones. And what I also recommend is that you go to the actual YouTube site and save the links, and that way you can continue to watch these later. My personal advice is to also save these Pro Tools projects because I know some of you are going to have some months in between your next Pro Tools class, and this would be very good exercises to do monthly. You know, just keep doing one of these Pro Tools exercise assignments as we're going to do tonight, and just do, you know, one a month or something, and keep your Pro Tools chops up, and then you also have the video saved to go along with that, and you'll get some repetition in your learning, and it will get easier as you go. So that's the class archives. And so what the weeks look like as you go through here and you start looking at each week. The course intro is taking you through the software installs and updates. Watch that video. It shows you exactly how to do everything, right? And then if you do everything correctly, then you're going to be able to open up this install session. Easy for me to say, right? And you'll be able to hear that and play it. So, and then every week you're going to see your Tuesday and Thursday lectures, your discussions, some reading material, and your quizzes. I encourage you to take that open book and really learn. And so that's pretty much what your weeks are going to look like. As like I said, I'm not going to spend my time on that because the course introduction video will explain all that. So what we're going to do tonight is go over this Pro Tools assignment here. But before I do that, I just want to take a quick poll about expectations because, you know, if you start off the class having expectations and then I didn't meet them or never meant to meet them, I don't want you mad later on saying, man, they never covered automation or anything, when we never intended to cover automation. So this is a great time to ask me anything about, you know, are you going to do this, or this is what I hope to get out of this class. All right. Somebody says I expect to be very proficient and know what I'm doing. All right, so I want to equate this to like your final test is being able to lift like 500 pounds, all right? If you only go to the gym once and try to lift 500 pounds, it's just not going to happen, right? But if you go every day and you practice for an hour a day, then you're going to get closer and closer and closer and closer, and then by the end of the month, you're probably going to be able to lift that 500 pounds. So I use that example because here's what I expect out of you and how to run this class. The blanket statement is I really expect everybody to spend a good 12 to 16 hours a week in this class, all right, working on this if you really want to become totally awesome. Now, how is that time spent? Well, the first time you watch this archive video, I do not want you to follow along. All right, I want you to just watch it, just let it soak in and say, yep, cool, yep, cool, yep, cool. And then if I'm doing something that doesn't make sense to you as I'm doing it, I want you to ask me a question. All right, give me a quick little question mark up on there if you got that. All right, now, but here's the deal, though, is I don't expect you to fully understand it the first time either. I only expect it to make sense. Because then as you go watch it a second time with Pro Tools open, and you'll watch the video, you'll see me do something, and then you pause, and then I want you to go do it on your own Pro Tools system, whether it's the project or the remix or whatever you're trying to do, and then watch a little bit longer in the video. Because what happens, and the reason that I don't want you to follow along with me as you're watching it the first time, is that I'm going to take these little pauses and go down these little teaching tunnels to give everybody a good basic understanding. And then we might pop out of that teaching tunnel and then actually do number 2 or 3 or whatever. And so sometimes people were like, when they follow along with me, like, dang it, I did all this stuff and then I didn't have to. He was just kind of showing me a background. Oh, darn it. So Everybody, give me a TT if you understand that I'm going to be pausing and taking these teaching tunnels. Good, good. All right. I'm not seeing everybody. This is an interactive class, y'all. You can't just sit me on a shelf and be watching Facebook or something. And if you are on Facebook, go make sure you like Steve Kane Productions. This is not the time to binge Netflix or whatever and keep me on the side, because you're not going to be able to do this. I'm going to be interactive. Some people are like, dude, I can't come on. I got peanut on my fingers. I'm making a sandwich over here. But so I'm going to be very interactive, asking you to type out things. So that is the expectation. If something doesn't make sense, I expect you to ask a question about it, because you're not going to be able to understand it if it doesn't make sense when I'm showing it to you the first time. Okay. But I also don't expect you to fully understand it the first time. I only expect it to make sense. And then I expect you to watch it a second and a third time. So if these videos are an hour and a half to two, I'm expecting you to spend at least 4 to 6 hours on each video. And you've got 2 videos a week, so there's your 12 hours right there. And then 2 hours on each project, that would be 16 hours. But not all of them are 2 hours. Sometimes they're an hour and a half or so. So that's giving you time, for discussions and everything. So you can see that now, and you only are going to do that if you're going to like become a scarecrow, outstanding in your field. Because it's kind of like if you're a musician, the first time that you learned like 2 chords and you went to switch between them, and like it when you went D, and then you had to kind of replace all your fingers and stuff like that, and then G, right? And then after you keep on practicing and back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, and now you can finally go boom, 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 very easily. And that's kind of way the working with any DAW is, knowing where to navigate the menus and everything. So that is, I would say, my biggest expectation, and that. So everybody showed me the question mark. So you are going to ask me questions when things don't make sense, and then you are also going to watch this multiple times. I do not expect you to follow along with me the first time. I do expect you to laugh at my jokes, like the scarecrow joke, or this one even. Do you know what the fish said when he swam into the wall? Damn. Yes, I'm going to be here all month, in case you're wondering. So let's get along and start this thing. So I'm going to open up every Pro Tools assignment is going to have the guidelines. So let's right-click on these. Oh, come on. Or you just want me to double-click on them? Sure. You want me to right? There we go. Open in a new tab. So everyone is going to have a guideline for you to go over, and it's going to show you 10 things that you're going to do and a rubric at the end to make sure that you've done everything right. And we're going to do all of this tonight as we start going along. Now, let me know if you have questions. If you are ready to start, give me an NQ for no questions. If you do have a question, throw up a quick question mark and then start typing it out so I know to pause for you. I'm seeing a lot of NQs. Awesome, awesome. Well, if you've got no questions for me, guess what? I've got a question for you. Talking about fish, you know what you call a fish with no eyes? Just fish. That's right. All right, so let's, we've got this up in here, and I'm not going to read this to you, but what it says is, it is absolutely essential to attend the PTA one. No, I'm kidding. I just said I wasn't going to read it, and then I started reading it. That's funny. So anyway, you'll get the idea that tonight we're going to cover editing. And as I said, I expect you to take these editing skills that you're going to be doing very objectively, kind of like paint by numbers, and apply them to your remix project as you work in a very creative way. We're also going to be talking about some basic file hierarchy and things like that. And the basic thing I want to get out to is that always through this class, late assignments will not be accepted. Isn't that so much fun? I love these delays. But we do have a heart, so make sure if you are having issues or whatever that you reach out to your section leader and let them know, and that way you can get an extension if you need it. But make sure you let us know before the due date. And remember, the due date is not the due date. You remember, DUE and DO, those silly homophones. All right, and remember, nothing's going to be a surprise. Make sure you check out the rubric at the end so you know what and how we are grading. All right, so I went ahead and did this step already. I opened up the session and did a save as. So we're going to show you how I did that. So online, like I said, you have this zip file, right? So I downloaded that and I put that into my Finder. And just as we all recommended that you get very what I call CDO, which is it's OCD, but I feel better alphabetizing the letters. But that you get very obsessive about where you're saving things, so you can always find it. So I've got my online courses here. You're my 1901 class. And so for week one, I've got my Pro Tools assignment zip. And when you open this up, it's going to give you what we call a session file. All right. Or sorry, a session folder. And this session folder contains many other folders and the session file, what the .ptx is. Okay. Now, when I do a save as, what it does is it creates another session file. I'm not sure why. You know what? I'm getting some clicks and pops. And I'm going to jump down a teaching tunnel right now just to see if I can look at my setup and see if I can do anything here. I'm going to ignore errors during playback. Well, actually, that's good. You know what? I'm going to increase my cache to, and let's see if that will help with the clicks and pops. All right. So now moving on along. Oh, look, I clipped. Wow. When you open up your session, it is going to be totally blank, right? And you're going to open up this PTA1 session. And when you do that, you might have the edit window open, or you might have no window open, and you've got to go get either your mix or edit window. I'm going to be working the edit window tonight. By the way, the quick key for this that you'll probably want to use is Command equals. That's that little thing that looks like the tire squeal marks in a intersection, and people doing donuts in the intersection. Y'all know what I mean, man, right? I got some North Carolina and some Texas. I'm from Tennessee. Y'all know what I mean. Everybody doing donuts in the middle of the intersection. All right. So when these are just my tracks that I've got, yours are going to, you actually are going to probably look more like this when you see it, and probably not have that cool delay going on right there. And yours is going to look pretty much like this. Now, I went under the File menu, and I know that my latest hadn't been saved yet because this here is not grayed out. But as soon as I save it, see, now I know it's grayed out and I know it's locked in. But if I did something else, like make a selection or something, they're going to say, whoops, nope, you did something else. You got to save it again, right? So I can save it, and that still saves my other one. Now, when I do a save as, that gives me another copy. Like, I'll even do it again. We'll put C. Like, see, here's another copy. So I'm going to save it now, and now you see the word C. And by the way, you see this weird thing? I'm just going to hit Command equals and toggle through my windows, and it magically disappears. All right, but check this out. When I did that save as, now I've got yet another session in my session folder. I've got my original, and then the one we just asked you to do, where you're naming it correctly, first and last name, right? And then you're not leaving copy of, so you're doing a save as and naming it your first and last name, and you will see that it automatically adds it to the session folder. Now, I want to take a pause real quick and jump down one of these teaching tunnels. Show me TT real quick on the chat window if you know that we're pausing for some learning. All right, teaching tunnels. All right, here we go. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, so when we are in this, right, the save as, the reason that we do that is not just for Full Sail, but because now you can go practice it again by opening up this one and doing a save as, and then opening it up again and doing another one, right? So it always gives you that go-to point. But in the real world, check out what happens. If I went down to some of my sessions over here, and let's see, Staying Alive. Look at that. I've got would you look at that? I've got different save as versions, and sometimes I'll name what I'm doing. Or if I'm working with somebody, I tempo mapped it. Then I added some other things. Or let's look at here's one. Sometimes I'll name it by a day, right, of when it is and something good that happened with it, or whatever. I had the tiger here. Oh yeah, here's where I actually like. Here's the second day. Here's the third day. Here's the fourth day. So different ways of keeping yourself. I would definitely do a save as every day that you open up something, because maybe you work and you come back the next day and you're like, oh dude, that was so dumb what I did yesterday. I wish I and now I can't undo everything. Right? So now you've got another version you can go back to. So my silly way to remember save as and what it works for is, as you will see, sometimes it will save your as because it gives you that original file that you never mess around with. And like I said, I would keep these throughout the months and open these up maybe once a month and do it again, so you just keep your Pro Tools chops up. Okay? So that's number one. So number two, any questions about save or save as? Give me a big SA if you're down with save and save as, if you're cool with the differences now. Save only updates the current one, and save as gives you that replication. All right, good, good, good. Thank you, everybody. Whoop, whoop. Any questions? Give me an NQ. If you've got no questions, give me a question mark if I need to pause for a question. All right. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Got a lot of NQs. Then that means, you know what? I got another question for you. You know what you call a cow with two legs? Lean beef. Mm-hmm. You know what you call a cow without legs? That's right, ground beef. Y'all knew that one. Very good, very good. All right, but what do you call a dog with no legs? It doesn't matter because he's not going to come to you anyway. Oh my gosh. All right, let's get on with this. Open the tracks list and the clips list, and then we're going to import some audio. So here's one of these things, another teaching tunnel to go through, because as you work, you're probably going to find one way that you like, but because it's Pro Tools, it gives you 3 or 4 different ways to do the same thing. And that's the hard part, because if you want to get Pro Tools certified and take the test, you got to know all the ways. So I'm going to show you 3 different ways how to open up your clips list and tracks window. And this is like the reason why I said, well, don't follow along, because you're like, well, dude, why do I have to do it? Open and close, open and close, open and close, open and close. All right, so here's the grandma way. Here's what I mean by grandma, because like when grandma goes on the internet and she wants to Google something, she goes to google.com first, and then she types in that little window, and you're like, no, grandma, you don't have to do it. There's a quicker way to do it. Just go here and type it, right? I mean, my grandma doesn't. She's dead. But she loves the fact that I still talk about her in lecture, so that's awesome. That, my friends, is called dark humor. My son told me it was an anti-joke. And I said, well, what's an anti-joke? He's like, well, something like, knock, knock. Who's there? Well, it's not Michael Jackson. And I was like, oh, yes. Okay, anti-jokes, dark humor, whatever you want to call them. I love my grandma. Thank you, Momsy. You're awesome. So anyway, don't be like grandma and go under this little drop-down menu and go like, okay, I'm trying to go to the tracks list. Let me open up the tracks list. Oh, looky, there it is. There's the tracks list. And then if I want to close it, I can go over here and close it. All right? Don't do that. Right? You can do the same thing with the clips list, yes. But check this out. Watch this. Watch this. Everybody, can you see my mouse? All right, I'm going to wiggle my mouse for a minute. Watch, it's going to get bigger. Does everybody's mouse get bigger when they wiggle it? It's a great teaching tool. I love it. All right, so look, I'm a cursor. I'm a cursor. I'm a cursor. I'm a cursor. Dang it, I'm not a cursor. And then I'm a cursor. That was a silly joke. Get it? I'm a cursor. I'm a cursor. And then dang it, I'm not a cursor. All right, when you get this little spot right here, just do a double click. Boom, boom. Now, it doesn't do that boom, boom sound for you. That was me. But it will close the window. Now, some of you are thinking like, dude, man, I wonder if he can open it that way or close it that way, if he can open it that way. And you're right, brah. Check this out. I'm a cursor, I'm a cursor, I'm a cursor, I'm a cursor. And now, dang it, I'm not a cursor. I double click. Boom. And it works. Now, again, I did the boom sound. So if you're like, oh, why's not working? Well, that's your fault. All right. So I got my clips list, and then check it out. You're wondering, well, can the tracks list work the same way? Yep. Looky there. Ba-bam. And notice I did a different sound there, right? You can, and then you can drag it and open it, right? And now check this out. One more. Follow my mouse. Follow my mouse. Follow my mouse all the way down. Watch the mouse. You're getting very sleepy. No, I'm kidding. You're awake. Watch. See this little close button? Boom. You're like, does it work on the other side? Yes, it does. Boom. Or what about this? Ka-ka! Ka-ka! How you like me now? All right. So we got our tracks list and our clips list. Now we got 3 different ways because remember, I'm wanting you to be scarecrows. Outstanding in your field. That's called jokes through repetition. All right. So now that we got those open, yours is only going to have the clips, hat, and the kick. And if you don't have these either, let me show you these. Right? The grandma way up here is to view your edit window, your instrument and output, your sorry, not your instrument and output, your input and output, sorry, boom. So that give you your IO column. Or the non-grandma way to do it is in this little drop down here. You might want to see your IO as well. Okay. And then I'm going to go ahead and show my inserts and sends as well, just because I like those. Notice that I've got 10 of them, and we'll talk more about them in mixing, but I don't need, they just have them in buckets here. All right. So it said open the tracks list and clips list, and then from the audio files menu, import the files kick, clap, and hats into the clips list. All right, and then when prompted, put it to the clips list, and then drag them to their tracks. All right, so here's what we're going to do. The way you show these up is you click the little button next to it, right, and that will give you all of them. Now, you can click them, you can click and drag them, right? You can do that. You can option, you can hold down option and click them all on, all off, right? Now, check this out. Here's one of the first quick keys I'm going to show you. Now, watch this. I love this because I hate doing this and having to go look and find my other tracks. So check this out. Everybody look down at your keyboard. There's a space bar there. That's the big one, the big button. That's where Han Solo hangs out, the space bar. So look to your left of that. You've got Command, Option, and Control. I'm in control. Did y'all know that that's Janet's favorite modifier key? But anyway, instead of using the acronym for Command, Option, and Control, we are going to say 3 fingers. All right, so I'm going to hold the 3 fingers, and then I'm going to hit the down arrow over on the right side of my keyboard. So Command, Option, Control, and then down arrow. And look, it makes all of them fit. And the cool thing I like it doesn't matter how many tracks are up, it fills it up, right? That's the cool thing about 3 fingers down. All right. Now, what I'm going to do real quick, and what you don't need to do, is I am going to take all of my outs, all of my things here. Whoops. All of these tracks. And I'm going to assign them to my submaster so I can talk over them. So to do everything at the same time, to change all of these outputs at the same time, I'm going to hold down Shift and Option just to show you, you know. And I'm just going to go route those to that track that's already there, submaster. And I'm going to talk more about that during our mixing lecture, but you see now my output goes to my submaster, and then my submaster is looking at that same thing, and I'll talk more about that later. But for right now, you just leave yours on your main outputs, and everything will be fine. I do this just so I can talk over what's going on. Okay, so we said we are going to learn and take all these teaching tunnels, and we're about to do some of that again. And this lecture is just a good foundation lecture because it really shows you how Pro Tools goes about everything. So everything under the file menu is obviously file related, right? So to go to import, it's going to be very specific, unlike some programs you may have used in the past where you just hit like an import button and you can go pick any file. You've got to be very specific about what you're importing in. So we're going to go import audio. All right, Shift Command I. That's probably a good one to learn. Now, when we gave you that folder, it came with everything you need, right? Now, every Pro Tools session will have all of these minus the audio files for import. That will never show up. That was just a way for us to deliver files to you, okay? But you will see the audio, the bounced, the clips, the backups. It's already been making a couple backups for me, video files. You'll see all those. They automatically make them. The only one that was handmade, especially provided for you by Full Sail University, is the audio files for import. So that's what they want us to do. Now, if I click one of them or all of them, here's what's going to happen. You're going to see two words down here. Well, four actually, but they're basically two of the same kind of. Add and copy, all right? Or add or all, sorry, or copy all right? So let's talk about the difference here. All right, let's look at copy first. Would you be blown away if I told you that's going to copy the files into the audio files folder? I know, right? And if I hit add, it's going to leave them where they are. And see, in my audio files folder, they're not there already. And that's what my session refers to. All right, when I hit play, it refers to the things in the clips list, and the clips list refers to this audio files folder. And we're gonna show you some examples here as we move along. But so I need to populate that, because if I hit play right now, there's nothing here. It wouldn't play. So I've got to go grab these files. Now, the reason it says copy is because it is the same format as my session, with a WAV file, 16-bit, and 44.1. All right. Now, I'm going to hit cancel for a second, and I just want to show you under the setup menu. This is how I know this. Session setup, and it tells me that I've got WAV files, 16-bit, 44.1. So I know everything is cool. All right. Now, check this out. Just for this teaching tunnel, right? Shift Command I. If I picked a different something, like instead of going to my online courses, let's go to my sessions folder. Let's go to my sessions folder. And let's look at some audio here. Look at this. Now it doesn't say copy, it says convert. And the crowd goes, oh, I can hear everybody gasping right now. They're like, well, add stayed the same, but now instead of copy, it says convert, because look, it's still a WAV file, but it's a different bit depth and sample rate. So we need to convert it to the correct one that we want. So right now, we chose to give you a session that is in 16-bit 44.1 because there's no need to get any higher than that for this project. And that's the key determination of how you decide what bit depth and sample rate you want to go. I'm going to say pretty much use WAV files all the time because that's the one that's common between Mac and PC. But depending on your projects, you might go 24-bit 48K. You might go 16-bit 44.1. It really depends on the client and what you're going to do. All right, now, so everybody then put up a CC for me in the chat window if you are cool with convert versus copy, right? Because you'll see copy if it is the same and convert if they're different. So very good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and just copy them all. And when I hit done, here's where people screw up. Some people are like, all right, so what I'm going to do for like a destination folder, oh, dude, bro, I'm going to put like all my audio in like one special place and keep it there. No. Don't do that. All right? Just let it save in the audio files folder that is in the session folder that you're working. Now, here's a little story time with Steve. Right? So we're hitting a pause with the cause, going down that teaching tunnel, but this time it's a story time. So back in the 1900s, I was working in Nashville with old tape machines, and tape was heavy, right? And I remember one night Jewel came into town, and she booked out 2 studios because she wanted to work on 2 songs. And so I would drive her from studio to studio because she would sing one, and then I would have to take her and the tapes over to the other studio and let her sing the other one. And so it was very easy to remember if I grabbed the tapes because I could look in the back seat and like, yep, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tapes. Cool, I got them all. And my arms weren't sore from carrying all the tapes. Because that stuff is heavier than you think, 2-inch reel of tape. But anyway, here you don't really know, right? Because you go, what happens is some people say, all right, well, I'm going to go work on my session, and they just copy over the session file, right? And what you always need to go when you're going to work on something, you always have to copy your session folder because that will include all of the audio files, right? That you're trying to get as well as all the sessions. So don't screw around. Just let it default to that audio files and save them there. And then it said in the instructions to pick clips list versus new track. Now, some of you are like, I wonder why it wants to do that. And so here's why, man. I'll tell you. And if I say y'all, I'm meaning you guys. And if I'm saying you guys, I'm meaning y'all because I see some people here from the south. I see some people from the north. I just want to make sure everybody, that all y'all's guys is cool. You know what I mean? All right. So if I'm talking like this and I say you guys, right, it's the same thing like me talking like this and saying y'all. All right. So I bet y'all are wondering why we want to have clips list instead of a new track. Oh, a rule of thumb is if it's just like a little sample of something, go ahead and just throw it in the clips list. But if it's a whole like song and it's the bass line or the keyboard line or whatever, then get a new track and let it just name it for you and stuff. Well, we've got tracks all ready for you, and so you just need to throw these puppies in the clips list. Notice when you do have track that you can put it at different places, and we'll talk about that as the month goes on. But if it's in the clips list, it's just going to throw it in the clips list. So you hit the AUK button right here. A lot of people think it's okay to hit the AUK button. All right, so now that I've got you see them in the clips list, right? And now check it out. I'm going to hold down Command, and as I hit Tab, my other programs come up. And if I go to the Finder again, look, they went from here, and now I've populated them to my audio files folder. So everybody cool, y'all? We's all good, y'all? Tell me good, like I put up an IA if you're good with importing audio, y'all? And you know to put in you gave me the CCs already. Good, yeah. Very good. So now it's very good. Now, some people are asking right now, they're like, man, when do you use the add button then? Because it seems like you always should copy. And you are right. Hold it, wait a minute. That needs a delay. And you are right. Right. Okay? So, the only time I've been told that somebody's used the add button is my buddy Julius did some work with EA back in the day with that John Madden guy, you ever play that football game? And he was doing all the editing. And my buddy Tom Todia right there, shout out, he's making some games over there at EA. And do you think that they let them copy their audio clips to their laptops that they're working? Or actually, do you think they want them to work on their own computers or share computers? They want them to work on their own. But do you think then they want them to actually have the actual audio on there, or do you think they're going to want it to live on their server? Exactly. So when you start working in important projects, you'll probably be hitting add more than copy. All right? But that was a very good question. Mama always said questions are really good. It makes you learn a lot. Yes, that is my Forrest Gump. Very good. I feel like, are you doing Forrest Gump? Y'all know what Forrest Gump's password is, right? 1 Forrest 1. Oh my goodness. But y'all know what it is when he needs to have a special character? It's 1 Forrest 1. Get it? Because the exclamation point was in the sound of my voice. Alrighty, yes, just to remind you, I am going to be here all month. All right, so we've got those in. It said drag them to their appropriate tracks. Now, that's going to be a drag. All right, but here's what I'm going to do. We're going to jump down another teaching tunnel and learn about these modes over here. All right, so what I first want to do right here is get the slip mode going on, right? And so we're going to go grab the kick truck right here, and we're going to slip it out. Now, what this does is it slips around all of the samples, right? And we're at 44.1. So let me grab my grabber two. I grab my grabber two, and it slips it all the way around, right? And look here. Look, you got bars, beats, and ticks, right? And I can slide it anywhere. I can slip it anywhere. But look, if I look at another ruler, look, almost all the rulers are here. Like, oh, not Henry VIII. He's not over here. Oh, I know. Heads are rolling now. Oh my gosh, that's two jokes right leading into each other. Oh my gosh. All right, so samples, check it out. So check this out. If I was at sample 44,100, right? 44,100. Look at this magic. Our sample rate is 44.1, right? So if I looked at my time, how many people think I'm going to be exactly at 1 second? Oh my dog. Would you look at that? 1 second. Oh my goodness. So anyway, so here's all your rulers and that slip mode. Let's go back to bars and beats since we're doing music production. And so that's there. I eventually going to put it over at the very beginning like that, but I'm not right now because I want to teach a little bit more. We're still in the teaching tunnel. All right, so now check this out. Everybody give me a capital S if you are cool with slip mode. Slip mode is very good. Well, we're going to talk about the differences here in just a minute. But I put it at any sample, and that works with anything. I can put the selector anywhere. I can slide it anywhere. I can trim it to anywhere. Just, whatever, right? It slips. Now, that is opposite of, all right, so give me a capital S if you're cool with slip then, all right? Good, thank you. All right, so now let's look at shuffle mode. Shuffle. It's very French sounding, right? Shuffle mode. Very good. As my friends call it, le shuffle. All right, so take this. All right, check it out. I'm going to grab the clap. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm eventually going to put it on the clap track, but I want to use the kick here as a teaching tool because shuffle, like if you shuffle cards, right? Imagine yourself shuffling cards. There's no spaces in between the cards, right? When you put them from two hands and you shuffle them into one, it goes and shuffles back to back. There's not any spaces between the cards, right? There's not like 5 cards and then an 1/8 of an inch space and then 3 cards and a 2/10 of an inch space. They're all back to back. So now, and check it out, in slip mode, that would allow me to put that clap right there and have a space, but I don't want to do that. So in shuffle mode, what I want to show you is as I drag the clap out, first you're going to see a yellow line that's going to snap and shuffle exactly right onto the back here. And then I'm going to move it again, and I'm going to put it on the front. And what I want you to notice is that it's still going to drop in right before 1/4, and it's going to shuffle the kick down. And it's still going to be magnetically attached here. And then as I move it away from the kick, it's going to magnetically snap to the beginning because it's shuffling to whatever. So let's grab that clap, right? And as soon as I bring it in, boom, look, it shuffles. You see that yellow line? It doesn't matter where I drop it. Look, boom, it shuffles it. Now, look, I'm right before 1/4, and so when I grab it here, the yellow line's there. It stays right before 1/4, and it shuffles that down, right? And then the only way I can get a gap then is if I move it to the beginning, and you see the white or the yellow line right there, boom, it shuffles in to there. And that's the only way it's going to get a gap. Now, I actually want this down here, and I want this. Oh, notice it backed that up. It also was taking time away. So let's bring that here. All right, so give me a capital F then if you're good with shuffle mode. And I'm going to show you now, or I'm going to talk maybe a little story about slip and shuffle, because maybe you're wondering, well, why would I want to use slip or shuffle? All right, so here's a perfect job for you to do like right now. You go back to your local high school, and you know how football season's over, but like basketball season's now, right? And you know how like all the cheerleaders, they'll take like the 5 or 8 most popular songs, and they'll take like a 4-bar hook or an 8-bar hook out of all of them, and they'll put them back to back and do a dance routine. Yes, you know what I'm talking about. All right, so slip mode is going to be very good for going and finding precise hooks, right? It was, that hook, and then it was, this hook, and then it was this one, and then it was this one, right? And so you would want to use slip mode when you're doing your editing to get all the hooks and find your exact cool loops. And then I would use shuffle mode then to put them all back to back together to make their play track for the basketball game. Does that make sense? Give me an MS in the chat window if that makes sense. Good, 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 good. All right, awesome. Give me a Q if you need a question. All right, so yes, slip allows me to be sample accurate, and shuffle always shuffles down to that. You're not going to see a whole lot of things with shuffle concerning the trim tool, but you definitely will with the grabber tool as you're moving things. All right, so let's move on to, let's do spot mode for a minute. Spot mode. It sounds good to sound like they say spot, like Sean Connery might say spot mode. I'm going to have a spot of tea. Right, and let's grab our hats. Grab your hats, folks. It's getting ready to get crazy. All right, so when I grab my hats, check this out. As soon as I let it go, it's like, hey, what spot do you want me to be in? All right, so I'm going to put it on 2-1. All right, or actually, let's put it on 2-2. Like, let's pretend it was a snare sample, right? And I want to do boom, pop, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So I put it right here. And so it lines up right with measure 2. And matter of fact, let's get a bigger grid line. Let's go to quarter note so we can see that grid line right there. Right? See that grid line lined up? Right there. Now, let's pretend, all right, so here's another little story time. Remember, teaching with stories is cool. I remember back when I was in Nashville and one of the producers said, hey, man, I'm going, what you doing this weekend? And I told him I was going down to Memphis. And he says, really, I'm going to be in Memphis too. And I said, that's awesome. He says, I'm going to be over at Ardent Studios. You want to help me? And I was like, heck yeah, dude. So we go over to Ardent Studios, and I met the great engineer, the late, great John Hampton, who, bless his soul, was a freaking awesome guy. Look him up. He's recorded everybody under the sun. Probably ZZ Top was one of my favorites. But anyway, he was doing a Gin Blossoms thing, and he asked me to fly in a tambourine on beat 4, I think it was. He called it the Hitmaker. We had a little tambourine on a DAT, so it was just like, tsh, right? That's my version of a tambourine. And then I flew it into the main audio track, so it was just like a timing thing. Can you imagine if he had a Pro Tool set up and it was easy as dragging it up and saying, boom, put it on clip 2, put it on beat 2, put it on beat 4, put it on beat 2, put it on beat 4. All right, so check this out. Or I can line up the end. So let's pretend this was a reverse thing, like boom, shack, right? So this time I want the end to be on measure 2, beat 2. Everybody's thinking of that old Billy Squire song, everybody. All right, so see how I've got the end of it lined up with beat 2 right now? Or, so that would be the case on the end. Now, you see where it says sync point. All right, well, this is anywhere in the middle now. So let's pretend this is dialogue now. And here's the scene. You're in a movie. Spot is used a lot in movies in spot mode, right? And they might be using a ruler of like time code or something. And so let's say right here at 1 hour and 3 minutes, he turns to the camera and you finally see, because right here, he's got his head turned, and let's say these are coughs, and it's going like, right? And that's our sound effect. So, but he's got his head turned, so I can't quite sync it until the 5th cough. So he's like, So right here, they actually get it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put myself in slip mode, and I'm going to say right here, right there. That's what I want to line up, because that's where the camera is, right? So I put that, and then under clip, I want to identify that as a sync point, and you'll see the little arrow show up, the green arrow. So you had no idea there were going to be superheroes in my lecture, did you? Dun, 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 dun. And look up here. Here's the less famous blue arrow. But, all right. So now when I get my grabber tool and in spot mode, right, we said they coughed right there at 1 hour and 3 minutes. So what I'll do is I'll say, put that sync point at 1 hour and 3 minutes. And now look, my sync point lines right up with when I turn my head, because I was off camera, I was going, right? And now everything links up. So give me a capital T if you are cool with spot mode. Awesome. You can put either the front, the end, or somewhere in the middle, anywhere in the middle that you define as a sync point. So by the way, I'm going to remove that sync point right now so it doesn't mess us up. And this is why I tell y'all, you guys, not to follow along with me as I am working, right? Because doing that sync point was totally unnecessary. It was just for my teaching tunnel. Okay, so lastly, let's look at grid mode, or some people like to say grid mode. Reminds me of grits and cheese, man. I'm from the South. Oh, that's a grits and cheese. All right, so the way we talk about this, man, I click it more than once, I hold it down, I got absolute and relative grid, man, right? So check it out, man. So let's pretend that we are in the Caribbean, we listen to the whalers now, right? And let's just put this right here. We slip this and we put it right behind the beat 2, right? Everybody sees that now I'm right behind beat 2 because in reggae, man, everything is slightly behind the beat, man, all right? So as I zoom in right here, I take my zoom tool like this. I zoom, and I see that it's a little bit late, right? So what I'm going to do then, let's make a bigger grid so we can see more than one grid line right here, man. Let's make a 16th note grid. All right, so now I've got lots of grid lines. All right, so check this out, man. In relative grid, because this is, or let me ask you, man, this snare is a little bit late, but is it in a groove, man? Oh, yeah, man, it is in a groove. All right, so we don't want to mess this up, man. So what we're going to do is go to relative grid and move it relatively by the grid, man. So look, it's a little bit late on that beat. So when I move it, it is a little bit late behind that grid point. A little bit late behind now. It's moving it by the grid, right? See that? It's still keeping its distance away, and that is good, right? Now, what we're going to do now is we're going to move into absolute. Now, absolute grid goes much better with orange juice, you know what I mean? That's a vodka joke. So what we're going to learn here is the absolute grid moves to the grid point, right? So now what's going to happen is instead of keeping the gap, it's going to fix the gap. It is going to move it to the grid point. To the grid point. To the grid point. Not by the grid value, but to the grid point. So, right? Absolute goes absolutely to the grid point. Relative moves relatively by the grid. And that way, if you had something a little bit off, when you're in relative grid, it moves by the grid and not to the grid. All right? So, everybody give me a capital G if you're down with my two different grid modes. A lot of times, I mean, it's just the real world difference. Are you trying to preserve the groove or are you trying to fix the groove? All right? And before you do it, ask the producer or the drummer. All right. So let's unzoom. By the way, with your zoom tool, you can just hold down the option button, right? And that will get you there. All right, so now I'm going to take this and I'm just going to throw this all the way back to the beginning. And now let's give her a listen. I'm going to pull down that sub master just a little bit. Oh, yeah. Oh, and it's looping too. I was going to show you loop. If you're not in loop playback, you can right click and put yourself, right? See, if I'm not in loop playback, it's just going to stop. And you can't really tell if that's a good loop or not, right? You're like, oh, yeah, it's good. Uh-huh. What? But if you loop it, then you can check to see if it's good. I got my loop. Don't sound like poop. It sounds really good. I wish you would make a loop that sounds like that. It's so damn fat. Oh, yes, it is. But we got a problem. We got a problem. You got a problem. Yo, I'll solve it. Now, I don't know if anybody knows right now, but check it out. What is this musical value? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. It's one bar, right? It's 4 beats. It's one bar, right? Bars, and look, my counter's telling me one. And look how weird it is. It's not even counting to the beat. And what's even weirder is when I look up here in my edit selection, it thinks it's only 2 beats and 640 ticks. Doesn't that tick you off? So that's why we come to the new number 3, which is saying change the session tempo to 120 BPM, right? And we're going to have a much bigger tempo discussion on Thursday. But for right now, what I want to show you is the absolute easiest thing in Pro Tools is to add a click track. So 3 fingers down. Let's add a click track. Now, because I have something highlighted, when I add a track, it's going to automatically put it right underneath. So I'm going to go create click track, and then I'm just going to drag it up her. Right. All right, so now listen to this. See how the click is not clicking to the beat? It's doing this cool like do, cha, cha, ooh, cha, cha. And it shouldn't be like that. It should be going like this. Click, 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 right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So we got a problem because it's the wrong tempo. All right? So 3 fingers down again. There we go. So we need to change the tempo. Now, let's get our transport window because I want to jump down another little teaching tunnel for a second, all right? So under the window menu, and you have all the windows you can look at. Pretty cool how they made that. Look at, all right? Windows, let's go to Windows. Setup is how I set it all up, all right? All right, so we're going to go to the transport window, and I want to show you something. Now, if yours looks a little itty-bitty, right? If yours looks minimal, and you do not have the expanded transport, all you simply have to do is go to that little drop down and say, show me all, and expand the transport, and then you've got everything. All right, now I just want to show you a couple things right here. See this little guy down here? See that guy right there with his hands waving up in the air like he just don't care? Yeah. All right, that's Mr. Conductor, as my French friends say, le conducteur. All right, so check it out. Le conducteur changes the tempo, doesn't he? When he moves his hands faster, the orchestra plays faster. Guess what happens in Pro Tools? All right, now check it out. If you're not in conductor mode, you are in manual tempo mode. And the big clue that you're in manual mode is that word right there, manual tempo. And guess what can't happen? You cannot change well, you can change it, but you can't like add tempo changes. It's only going to be one and stuck. You can drag it up and down here or tap, like if you can highlight this, you can use the T key and just like tap, like it's kind of like going do 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 ba do do ba, right, or whatever. But so I don't want you to just type in 120 like that either, because I want conductor mode. We're going to be professionals here, and I'm going to talk more about the two on Thursday night. But let's go conductor mode, because you're going to notice in manual mode you cannot even hit the plus button. I can't even, right? By the way, that's why you always see high school girls walking around in odd groups of numbers, because they can't even. All right. So check it out. Conductor mode, I hit this little plus button. Boom. Now remember, it's not going to do the boom sound for you, all right? So at measure 1, it said put it at the 120 beats a minute. Boom, hit oct. Now look what happens. Magically, not only does the click work, but when I select it, it tells me that it's a full perfect bar. Oh my goodness. Oh my dog. Now I got my click. It's sounding sick. It's to the beat. Moving my feet like a tea bag going around and around inside out of that cup. I know what's up when my tempo's down and I don't round. My click is tight. Yo, that's right, on sight. All right, I'm going to stop there. Yeah, and those listening for the second time know totally that I'm freestyling and not just having words fed to me. I'm a freestyling guy. All right. So let's move along. We've had some teaching tunnels. It's been fun, hasn't it? Let's keep moving along. Duplicate the drum clips for a total of 4 bars. All right, so here's what you're going to do. Now, check this out. If you get your grabber, this thing will tick you off because you're thinking, well, if I just hold shift and click down here, it'll get it. But whoa, right? So what you can do though, if you click on the name holding shift, it does grab everything in between. Isn't that funny? So don't get shift clicked off. All right. Just use your names, right? And then it says duplicate. Duplicate is under all the edit menus. Isn't that funny how they laid out all the edit commands under the edit menu like that? Right, so we see duplicate down here. And when we go duplicate, they give us the quick key like Command D right there. So we can come on the edit menu here and do it once. It's only going to do it once, duplicate. But then if I hit C, if I do it again, Command D, right, Command D's like that, and one more Command D, and now I've got my 4 bars. Let's listen, no gaps. I got my bars, so far they're sounding good. Wish you would take a chill pill out and listen. Ooh, no loop playback. All right. So I've got my 4 bars. Whoops. I need to save what you want, but don't. Right? I should have saved a long time ago. Thanks for reminding me, y'all. You guys are supposed to be my assistants or interns or something, right? You're supposed to like, dude, you hadn't saved. By the way, let's take a little pause for a second and talk about that. Never, ever remind an engineer that they haven't saved in front of their client, right? Because then the client's going to be like, what? The interns are having to remind you? Beforehand, work out this with your engineer. Say, hey, man, if I notice you haven't saved, what I'm going to do is say something like, hey, man, you're in command. And that's going to trigger you to remember to save. And then you're going to make a friend because then you're the intern, you're going live, and he does something really cool and you notice they didn't save. And so you say, you are in command. And then they're like, bam, they hit Command S. And they are going to love you. That's right. All right, so we did that. We duplicated 4 steps. Anybody got any questions? Give me a... Never mind. I'm not going to... give me a thumbs up. No, that's going to be too hard. Then you're going to be looking for emojis. Give me an exclamation point if you're down with duplicate. That's better than saying give me a big D or a capital. But give me a capital D if you want to. Yeah, that's better. All right. There we go. So everybody's cool with duplicate. Good. I'm not seeing as many exclamation points and capital D's. You want to see D's? Yes, I want to see D's to let me know that you know how to duplicate. Oh, you guys are so bad. All right. Number 5, in grid mode with a grid resolution of 16th notes. Well, let's just double check that. So we are in grid mode, right? And then we are in 16th notes, right? Good, 16th notes, good. Duplicate the clap at 4, 2, 0, 0, 0 7 times, and it says don't duplicate over the last one. All right, so cool. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to go, I could look right here and go look, all right, there's 4, and then that's probably that one, right? Or I can go type it in, 4, and then I'm going to hit my sideways arrow, and then 2, and then I'm going to hit return. And notice how it puts the cursor right there, right? And then if I zoom, and now check it out, I'm going to teach you something here because, that's grandma's way of grabbing this, right? That's grandma, right? But here's what I'm going to show you. If this A to Z button is highlighted, that's called our keyboard focus button. It allows me to do some interesting little quick keys, which we're going to talk about all month, one of which saves me from zooming or grabbing the zoom tool. So now I can use the R key to zoom out and the T key to zoom in. And I remember that because I like to zoom real tight, right? So that's an awesome way. And that way I don't have to keep it going and changing my tools. So they said select that. So because I'm in grid mode, I've got it right there, right? Now, if I count it, I'll get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that should work, right? So we just grab this. And who remembers the quick key? My favorite rapper, Command D, right? Uno, dos, tres, cuatro, cinco, seis, siete. Very good. And by the way, that was just Spanish for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay? I'm making sure everybody's following along. So now let's listen. Let's zoom out a minute and I got my clap. I duplicated. Listen to my clap. Oh, yeah. That sounded good. Y'all want to hear it again? Oh, there's that clap. It's there again. My friend, bring it in. Somebody's saying, dude, I love the way you're free flowing, not always breaking on the backbeats. Your rhymes are skidding around the town. All right. So we got all this going on. Oh, look. Whoa! We're halfway there. I'm not even going to try to sing the second part because I'm not going to be able to. All right, so in grid mode, we are there. 16th notes, we are there. Copy the clap located at 1, 2, and paste it at 1, 2, 480. All right, so that's kind of cool. Look, so I can do same trick, right? Type in 1, 2, return, zoom, 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 clap. Now, what I can do is boom, like that. And now that I've got that, I can copy it, right? So everything under the edit menu right there, right? Command C, Command X, Command V. Oh my gosh. It's just like Word or anything else, right? Copy and paste. So I want to copy that. Boom. And then it says paste it at 1, 2, 480. Right? And so right there, look, check it out. I can just type in 480 and then just hit. Oh, this is kind of cool. I could hit Command V, but check it out. Because this little A to Z button is, I don't even have to hit the Command button. I'm just going to hit V. Boom. Just like that. Oh, how you like me now? So now we got. Oh, yeah. Let's just listen to that. Oh, my gosh. It sounds so good. All right. So now, look, we're going to do it again. So a grid mode, the resolution 16th notes, we got that. Copy the clap at 3.2 and paste it at 480. All right, now Homeboy Steve is going to get down and dirty and show y'all something even cooler. Because we're in schooler. 3, 2. Bam. All right, so check this out. This is called our edit event area, right? And if you notice, when I drag, by the way, we're jumping down another teaching tunnel, right? You notice that if I have a selection, it tells me the exact start and end of a selection, also tells me the length. Well, so look, that 16th note is 240 ticks because there's 960 in a full note, right? So this is bars, beats, and ticks, right? So a tick is anything smaller than a quarter note, right? Because the quarter note is the beat. Boom, dot, doom, bop. 1, 2, 3, 4. So your 8th notes and 16th notes are smaller, right? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a... Boy, I can't take my rhythm. I heard it cut out. So when I'm in 16th notes, it's 240 ticks. So check this out. If I was really cool, right? Once I could just go in here and say, I want to go from 3, 2 and hit return to 3, 2, 240. And then I can hit C to copy it. And then I can go over here to 3, 2, 480 and paste it. Holy cow. I got people saying, oh my goodness, did you see that? He just made a cut and copy and paste without even touching the mouse. He did it all with typing. Oh my goodness. Oh my dog. Right? So let me tell you. Now you know why I like the grid mode. Now you know why I like the tempo lining up. Because if your tempo is perfect and your grid matches everything, I don't have to look like grandma zooming way in. I bet a lot of people do this. Like, all right, I got to get that, and then I got to get that, and then I got to zoom in closer. And they're in slip mode when they're doing this. And they're like, I got to get in closer. And oh, look, let me get right there now. And I get that. Oh, darn it. I got to get in closer. I missed part of it, right? And then, oh gosh, I forgot what, and it just stinks. I got to zoom out now, right? So get the idea. Don't work like grandma, right? Start using this to place things and this to select things. What? Return. And this is what you should have. All right, cool. See how, and what I'm going to do is when I grade this, I'm going to get my selector or my grabber, either one, and I'm going to grab it. You got to grab it like you want it, though. Yep. And by the way, if you want to rename it, you got to click it twice with the grabber because it takes two to make everything go right. Sorry. Those 90 jokes are just awesome. All right, so you're going to notice that it's exactly at 480. It's exactly at 480. It's not 481 or whatever, 479. It's exactly on the money, right? Exactly right, or it's wrong. Wrong. I'm never going to do that again, I swear. in grid mode with the resolution 16 notes, delete the kick at 1, 2, 480 and 1. All right, so let's concentrate one at a time. 1, 2, 480. Let's go get it. Let's go get it, y'all. Get it, y'all. Get it, y'all. 1, 2, 4, 8 to the 0. Bam. It's the kill. All right, so zoom in with the R and T's, right? And then we're looking at the click, or the kick, sorry. There it is. So that's the one they're talking about. And they said, get that one. So now I'm going to grab my selector tool, and instead of slip, see, this is where you don't want to get. See how it's all weird? You got to use grid mode, right? Grid mode. Boom. And now I'm going to delete that, including the tail. See what I mean by the tail right here? I don't want to have any of that either. So just delete all of that. Boom. Just like that. Nice. All right. And then it said go to 1, 4, 240, I think. All right, now here I've got two kicks. Don't get overzealous. Only do the first one. All right? And see, 240, it's in my grid. Boom, delete it. All right, now it sounds like this. And what I'm going to do is the selector tool, I'm going to double click right here and make sure that you cut it out exactly to the grid. All right? If these are off, I'm going to count them wrong. They've got to be exactly right. Okay? So, with that being said, let me ask you something real quick. Talking about deleting, right? Under this edit menu, let's take a look. I mean, obviously, delete isn't there. You could clear it. That would work too. But if I wanted to paste this somewhere, clear or delete would not work. What would I have to do if I was trying to paste that kick somewhere else? That's right, exactly. I have to cut it, right? I would have to cut it in order to paste it. All right, so very good, very good. All right, so you can double check your points before you turn them in, right? Make sure your spaces are exactly there, exactly right. All right, so number 9, chugging on along, right? In grid mode, with a resolution of 16th notes, select the hat at 3-1 and duplicate it 14 times. Holy cow, man. My thumb, and I'm going to get like carpal tunnel syndrome or something. Carpal tunnel syndrome for the old guy over here hitting Command D 14 times. Oy vey. Alrighty, so let's see what's actually going to happen. Be careful not to duplicate over the open hat located at the end of the region. Don't do it. Duplicate would not do good. Putting it over the open hat at the end of the region. All right, duplicate, I got you. All right, 3-1. Looking for a hat. Going on a 3-1. 3-1, 3-1. We're looking for a hat. Boom, that's where it's at. Do a little, where's my hat? Where's my hat? Right there. All right, so we're going to grab this. It said 16 notes. Now, just so you know, this is a little bit interesting because it's not right on there. And so let's just look at this for a second. Just look at it. I'm going to go to slip mode, and I'm going to try to get in there just as easy as I can and see how much it's off. It's like 10 ticks off. which in real time is about 5 milliseconds. I'm not worried about 5 milliseconds. You're not going to hear anything under 10, under 9 or 8. All right. So I am totally cool with that. So let's go to grid mode, and we have our 16th notes, and it said take that hat and duplicate it 14 times. And you're like, 14 times? What? So under the edit menu, right? And you're like, oh, you already showed us the command D, right? But no, listen, repeat. All right. Pete and repeat lived under the edit menu. Pete moved out. Who was left? Okay. Pete and repeat were living under the edit menu. Pete moved out. Who was left? Okay, Pete. All right, so yeah, I love that joke too. So repeat. Guess what? Repeat is the same as duplicate, but you get to pick it in. I know it's duplicate, but y'all know it's more fun to say duplicate. Doesn't it sound like a villain? Duplicate. You're not gonna get away with it. All right. Duplicate. Repeat it 14 times and watch this. Awk. It's okay to say awk. Come on, hat. Oh, yeah. Oh, my gosh. It sounds so good. I want to hear it again. I got my deep kicks. Deleted my hats. Duplicated. Got my claps. Sounding good, y'all. It doesn't sound like clap, does it? Oh, my goodness. By the way, do you know why Adele crossed the road? To say hello from the other side. But do you know why Adele crossed the playground? To get to the other slide. All right. So, we're almost done, y'all. Oh my gosh. Select all 3 clips, the kick, the clap, and the hat, located at 4.1 through 5.1, and navigated to the audio suite menu. Oh, sweet. Choose pitch shift, choose verify, render all 3 regions, and all clips should now slow down like a record store. All right, let's do it. All right, so homeboy Steve already showed you 4 return, 5 return, right? And then shift click, bam, all right? And now they said go under the audio suite menu. These are where all of our rendered plugins, and I'm going to talk more about that on Thursday for our mixing. Actually, I'll talk about more of that on our mixing day. And it said go to pitch shift and go to verify and make it slow down. We want it to fit to the selection. And the biggest thing is I want to use in playlist. Guess where it's not going to be? By the way, this is called the playlist. Guess where it's not going to be if you don't have use in playlist? It'll only be over here in the clips list, and it will not be here. So make sure you got use in playlist on. And then hit the render button. Boom. And now look, it's verified. Let's listen. Oh, my dog. This much too much. Stop the record. Yeah, I wrecked that record. All right, yo. We get it up here. I'm trying to still work on my northern accent. Somebody's saying it sounds like Chicago. I was kind of going for a Boston. You ever see those Boston Terriers? It's so disappointing. I always wanted to hear them say bark, bark, bark. But they never sound like that. You know what I mean? I'm going to hit save. And guess what, folks? We have done all 10. Please review the next page for properly delivering the session. All right. So now we talked about save and save as, right? Now we're going to talk about save copy in, or what I like to remember is save a backup copy in. All right. So you know that you're saving a backup copy. All right. And then so we're going to do that. We're going to name it first name, last name, PTA. All right. So check it out. File, save, copy in. So in the real world, this is where you would now generally do this the same way as your session, unless you're trying to, we'll talk about that later in the month. But generally speaking, you always bounce the same parameters that your session is in. And then you have to click this audio files button, right? You got to click this. This is the big thing right here, clicking this audio files button, because if you don't, guess what doesn't get delivered with your session? You're pretty smart. The audio files, everybody just put an AF up there. And it's audio files, that's right. Audio files are as important. AF, all right? Audio files. Oh boy, the jokes are just going on crazy. This guy's in the loony. Somebody's like, this guy's crazy. He should be a stand-up comic. No, I prefer not. All right, so hit the AUK button. Now, generally speaking, this is when you are going to choose for yourself in Full Sail, choose desktop. It's just the easiest place. But in the real world, you're going to choose an external device or the cloud or somewhere that when your computer crashes, it is safe, right? Take off the words copy of, because I don't want to see that. That's an easy way to, silly way to have 10 points taken off. I'm even going to take off C there. So we've got Steve Kane, PTA 1. So when I hit the save button, you know what? It's probably going to tell me I've already got one. Yeah, just replace it. Because it's old. It's old, I tell you. It's old, I tell you. Replace. Okay, then. So watch this. Watch this. I'm going to go to my Finder. I'm going to go Trick Daddy on my Finder. Command N. Give me a new Finder. Give me my desktop. Take this one, throw it away, throw it away, throw it away, y'all. Throw it away, throw it away, throw it away, y'all. Throw it away, throw it away, throw it away, y'all. All right, so now I'll put it on my desktop. Chicka-pow, boom. There you go. So now on your desktop, you are going to find a session folder. Now notice that because I did save copy in, it did not give me all those extraneous folders. I only want to see the session folder and then the audio files that were written. And you see the 3 audio files and their verified slowdowns. All right, and that's what you should deliver. Now, I don't want you delivering this folder, right? Because folders are silly. I want you to zip it for me. So right click and then go to compress, and that will make your zip file. And that's what I want you to turn in, all right, is this zip file right here. So we navigated to the save copy in. We named it first name, last name, PTA1. We were sure to check the audio files box. We said that was important to check the AF button, right? And then once we've archived it to your desktop, compress it. We did that by right-clicking and upload it to FSO before the deadline. Told you that was fun. All right, so let's review the rubric because I don't want any surprises. All right, they're like, dude, look at all these caps. They're yelling at me. If the assignment is submitted and the audio file without the audio files included, you are going to get a 0. I know, but how am I supposed to grade it if you don't give me that? See, I told you it was important to click that audio files button. All right, so here's all the 10 points. We did a save as in the beginning, so it's got the right name. And remember, we are expecting you to hold on to this file to do that save as, because now you can keep opening up the original one and practice it a couple times this week to get good, and then once a month after that to stay in practice, right? So really keep those and keep saving as so you don't destroy your original. I want your session folder and your session file named correctly. If you have copy of or duplicate or whatever, or last name and then first name, I'm going to take off 10 points, right? And you're like, dude, but all my other classes have been like last name, first name. Well, guess what? If you've been working for one guy and then you go work for another guy, they're probably going to have a different set of rules. So I want first name, last name because it helps me. Files have been properly imported into the session, that it has been changed to 120, that we've duplicated all of our clips for 4 bars. Now, on this one, let's talk about this one. All the claps, right? You're duplicating at 7, the 7 times we duplicated over here, the times we edited the measure 2 and the times measured at 3. All 3 of those points have to be exactly correct for you to get this. You can do this one perfect and this one perfect and put this one at 481, and you were going to lose 10 whole points because it's either all right or it's not. And you're like, but dude, that's not right, because like if I did most of it right. And it's like, dude, if you were my engineer and I told you to have this done and this done and this done, and would you want all of it done, or would you only want some of it done? All right, yeah, that's what I thought. All right, kicks have been properly deleted. And exactly, right? If it's at 481 or 239, it's wrong. 14 times. Remember, I did not use duplicate on that one. I used repeat. How did I roll my R's? We verified and slowed down our clips with the blah, 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 and then we did a proper save copy in. And so remember that late assignments will not be accepted. But remember, we have a heart, and so if you've got something going on and you know beforehand, let us know. All right? Remember, the due date is not the due date, right? D-U-E-D-O, right? That's a homophone joke. Those silly homophones. All right. So that's everything. Now, remember my expectations. I totally wanted you, if things weren't making sense, I expected you to ask questions, right? Because I know that if it's not making sense, as I'm showing you, it's totally not going to make sense as you go and practice it on your own. And I am totally expecting you to go watch this video 2 to 3 times and practice it 2 to 3 times, because it's easy to do it once, especially if you're following me and I know how to do it. And right, if I'm not what kind of teacher would I be if you're like, oh, I don't know how to do it, you just showed me, right? So make sure you reach out to your session leader if you're watching the archive and something isn't making sense before you try to do it over and over again. We really want you to have a good sense of it. I want to thank all of my audience. It looks like we had some latecomers. Alexander, Antonio, Asia, Brandon, Catherine, Frank G, Frank K, Gil, Gus, Jamal, John, Johnny, Kali, Cameron, Marco, Sabrina, Samantha, Sachet, Shirley, and Van Trey. I want to thank y'all all for showing up. It's been a pleasure. Again, my name is Steve Kane, here with the Audio Workstations class. As always, peace out.